Hi, so I've had a request to go through this GCSE Edexcel computer science exam question, and it caused some confusion in a mock paper we did a while back, so it's worth revisiting. Really, this is a question about, do you understand how the internet works, what happens if you want to view a web page? Now, I'm sure you know what a browser is. So Edge is a browser, Chrome is a browser, Safari is a browser, and there are also other browsers available. As always, I do recommend you bring highlighters into any exam and highlight the key terms. So what is an IP address? Well, an IP address is a unique identifier for any internet connected address, and it allows different devices on the internet to communicate with each other. You probably remember that when packets of data are sent across the internet, that they are wrapped in the destination IP, so each packet of data knows where to get to the destination. Okay, so the IP address is the unique identifier of the device connected to the internet. But what's that got to do with the process to do with viewing a web page? Well, the data on a web page is hosted somewhere. It's on a server somewhere in the world. So if you are, imagine yourself, you are the user and you are viewing a browser window and you want to go to a web page. So perhaps you've gone to a search engine and you searched for the web page, and you can either click on the link or you can go to the browser window and just type in the www address directly. Okay, so the reason we do that is because the data is accessed via an IP address. So this is the IP address of the website that I was looking at just now. Okay, but that's hard to remember, isn't it? Humans are much better with words than with numbers in theory. So, you know, this is a much more user-friendly experience. I can remember that and type that in, or I can search for it. So the computer system needs to work out, if you type in a www address, a URL, how do we get from that www address to the IP address, which allows us to actually go to the server and look up the data that appears in this web page? Well, this is where the domain name system comes into play. Okay, so you, the user, have typed in or clicked on a link, a www address, that goes to the domain name system. The domain name system goes, hey, I know what that www address is. Here is the IP address that you need to go and get that data. Okay, so that goes back to the browser. So you, when you are answering this question, need to then draw an arrow saying, okay, the browser now knows what the IP address is, so it can make a GET request to go and get the data that needs to allow that page to appear in the browser. So this is the web server somewhere in the world. It's been identified by the IP address. It's received the GET request, so it can then send back the images and text and anything related to the page, so that the page can then appear in the browser. And that can be that's a two-step process, isn't it? So there's the first step is the DNS, where it gets the IP address, and then it goes again to actually go out to the internet to get the data that appears in the browser page, and then sends it back. So, you know, does that seem obvious when you click on a link? Well, no. But remember, the internet is basically mainly fiber optics, and data, if it's traveling at the speed of light, can travel 8 times around the world in a second. So all this is happening quite quickly. Now, a common mistake that sometimes people make is to confuse web hosting with the role of the DNS. So the DNS plays no role in hosting data on the internet. Okay, the DNS is an address book where when you type in a www address or click on a link, it can find the IP address that is associated with that www address, and then that allows the browser to make a GET request, go to wherever in the world that data is served, and send it back to the browser. So this is showing the question answered. So the URL www address is typed into the browser, or clicked on a link. The DNS, domain name system, tells the browser what the IP address is, where all that data is stored. Then the browser can make a GET request. Can I please see all this data? And then that data is sent back to the browser, and the user can see all that lovely information on the browser page. So sort of related questions, you don't want to do something like this. You don't want to involve the DNS in some way as a host of data. It's got nothing to do with that. It just provides the user, the browser, with the IP address so they can go and get the data. So in practical terms, the user clicks on a link or types in a www address. The DNS very quickly provides the browser with the IP address, so all these images can appear on the browser page. There you go.